These are the top 5 reasons San Antonio patients regret porcelain veneers. So what if I told you that veneer procedures have surged in recent years, with over 600,000 Americans getting them every year? It sounds like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon and loving their new smiles, right? Well, not exactly. I've been practicing dentistry here in San Antonio for over 16 years, and I've seen both sides. Patients who are thrilled with their results, and others who come in asking how to undo the damage. So if you want to know what their biggest regrets are, keep watching, because I'm listing the top 5 reasons why people end up unhappy with their porcelain veneers and how you can avoid making the same mistakes. Unrealistic expectations. So let's be honest, everyone wants to have a perfect, flawless Hollywood smile. You're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and you see your favorite celebrity or influencer with a great looking smile, and immediately you think, that's the smile I want. But what happens when the results you get don't match the dream that you had? Thanks to social media, we're constantly being fed idealized versions of beauty, veneers included, and I absolutely get it. You see someone's stunning smile transformation online, and naturally you want the same. But what most people forget is your teeth, your bite, your facial structure, it's all unique to you, which means copying someone else's exact smile might not actually suit your face or even be possible without compromising function. If you decide to get porcelain veneers to improve your smile, keep in mind that each design is personal, and you can't possibly expect to look exactly like your favorite celebrity, because at the end of the day, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. So with all that said, before you start planning on getting veneers, make sure you have 1. A digital or real mock-up of your veneers. This gives you a clear preview of what your teeth could look like based on your teeth and facial structure. That way, you and your dentist can make the right decision without any guesswork. Be sure to take a look at a gallery of real before and after photos. Don't rely on Instagram photos. Instead, ask your dentist if you can see images of actual patients that they've worked on. Even better, if they can give you an example of someone with a similar face shape or skin tone. Because while the mock-up is a great starting point, it doesn't really give you what actual results could look like. So, seeing the possible outcome on someone else can possibly give you a clearer picture. And lastly, ask the big question, what's realistically possible for me? At this point, everything is still hypothetical. So by asking this, you're basically saying, hey, I have a vision, but what's it actually going to take to get us there? And that's when the conversation shifts. Now, your dentist can walk you through what needs to happen. Maybe it's an adjustment to the alignment of your bite. Maybe you need a little gum reshaping first, or maybe you're missing some teeth that need to be replaced to give you a stable long-term result. But the point is, you'll finally have an actual plan. But if all this feels like a lot to navigate, I completely get it, which is why it helps to talk with someone who knows the ins and outs of the procedure. If you want someone with 16 years of experience doing this day in and day out, click the link in the description below and book a consultation with me. Cost concerns. And while porcelain veneers might seem like a simple teeth upgrade, what if you're stepping into something way bigger than what you bargained for? It's kind of like taking your car in for a quick oil change. You think it'll be a fast service, in and out, no big deal. Oil change, rotate the tires, and you're good to go. Wrong. So once the mechanic pops the hood and checks your engine, it suddenly becomes clear. There's more going on than you thought. Turns out, it's not just about topping off the fluids, it's about making sure the whole thing runs smoothly long term. And that's what veneers really are. A lot of people assume they're simple cover-ups that dentists stick on existing teeth without a thought-out procedure. But in reality, veneers are the final step of a full treatment that involves careful prep work, custom designs, mock-ups, fittings, and bonding. And that's why people get overwhelmed when the full price hits the table, because what they thought was a quick cosmetic fix was actually a more comprehensive service. So if you're considering veneers, here's a smart way to plan for it before any work begins. First, ask for a full written quote, not just the per tooth rate. Ask what's included: preparation, mock-ups, lab fees, final veneers, and even any follow-up adjustments. Second, ask if they offer payment plans or third-party financing. Many top dental practices in San Antonio work with flexible financing options, so there's really no harm in asking. It could make the difference between a big upfront payment or something more manageable. Third, check with your dental insurance policy. Most cosmetic procedures aren't covered, but it doesn't hurt to double check. Who knows, you might get some coverage. And finally, think long term. You've got to keep in mind that although veneers are durable, they're not invincible. So plan ahead for cleanings, regular checkups, or the occasional fix if something chips. Because trust me, the last thing you want is to commit to something that looks amazing at first, only to find yourself stressing about hidden costs later. Discomfort and sensitivity. Now, if you're thinking you're all set to get that aesthetic upgrade that you've been dreaming of, think again, because the next part might leave you second-guessing your decision. Okay, so let's get one thing straight. Getting veneers isn't painful, but that doesn't mean you won't feel anything. Most patients describe the experience as more unusual than uncomfortable. Some say it feels like their teeth are slightly thicker or heavier, and in the first 10 to 14 days after treatment, you might notice a few things. A bit of sensitivity when drinking coffee or biting into something cold, or mild pressure discomfort when you chew on something, or a slight change in how your mouth moves when you speak. You might feel some gum tenderness as your gums adjust to the new shape of your teeth. But here's the good news. All that's completely normal. It's just your body adjusting to change. And the best way to handle it? Go in prepared and give yourself some grace and time to adapt. So here's my 3-stage recovery process to help you feel comfortable after getting your porcelain veneers. Prep smart. And what I mean by this is, before your appointment, talk to your dentist about what to expect post-treatment. Ask about pain management options like over-the-counter meds. And don't forget to grab a tube of sensitivity toothpaste ahead of time. The last thing you want to do is scramble when the numbness wears off. A little prep goes a long way. Stage 2, gentle recovery. So now you're straight out of the procedure. What do? For the first 7 to 10 days, be gentle with your teeth. Stick to lukewarm foods, use that sensitivity toothpaste, and skip anything crunchy, chewy, or ice cold. At this point, your teeth are still adjusting, and that first week is where the most sensitivity and discomfort kicks in. Which leads us to stage 3, stay connected. Just because the appointment's over doesn't mean the process is. So keep checking in with your dentist, especially if something feels off after 2 weeks. Remember, a small adjustment early on can save you from a bigger fix down the line. Point 4, irreversibility. So after you got the veneers, right now you're probably excited about the results. But what if a year or 2 from now, you're looking in the mirror thinking, I wish I could go back? For the record, I've never had a patient tell me that, but it doesn't mean that I never think about it. You see, more than the upfront cost or time in a chair, veneers are a decision that sticks with you. They change how you eat, how you speak, how you smile, and in some cases, even how you sleep. So I'm probably the only person on the planet that doesn't have a tattoo, but let's think about it like a tattoo for a minute. In the moment, maybe it feels thrilling, like you're doing something meaningful to enhance your aesthetic. And once it's done, it looks amazing. People notice and your confidence boost is through the roof. But 2-3 years down the line, you realize you're not so fond of the design anymore. That's kind of what it's like getting veneers. Once we prep your teeth, which usually involves removing a thin layer of enamel, there's no undo button. So you really need to be sure that this is what you really want long term. Because ultimately, you're signing up for a lifetime commitment, complete with regular maintenance, replacements, and responsibilities. That's why I tell my patients to use this simple ACD filter before saying yes to veneers. A, ask, am I prepared for upkeep every 10 to 15 years? Porcelain veneers are durable, yes, but they're not permanent. Because on average, you'll need to replace them every 10 to 15 years. That means coming back in for a new set and repeating the same process all over again. So before jumping in, ask yourself, am I comfortable with that kind of timeline? Does it fit my lifestyle? If the answer is no, you might want to consider some less permanent alternatives, like whitening treatments, at least for now. Next is C, confirm. Do I understand what permanent enamel loss means? So, one of the steps usually involved in installing permanent veneers is removing tooth material, specifically enamel. Without it, your natural teeth will always need some form of coverage moving forward. So even if you want to remove your veneers someday, you can't just go back to your natural teeth. You'll always need a replacement. Which brings us to D, decide. Would I be okay maintaining this investment long term? With all the checkups and maintenance required for this type of treatment, you've got to check in with yourself. Are you ready for this? And I'm not just talking about the financial implications here, but more importantly, about the time and attention it deserves. Because if you're having any doubts, maybe hit that pause button for now. You can't rush into this type of decision. Otherwise, you might regret it one day. Point 5, maintenance issues. And speaking of regrets, the next one is one of the biggest mistakes that I see patients make. Oftentimes, when patients inquire about porcelain veneers, they're so focused on achieving the transformation that they forget about what comes after. Because let's face it, the initial result after the procedure is great, but it's not going to be like that forever. It requires upkeep and consistency to keep it pristine. And some patients, they completely overlook this, maybe because they're busy or it just doesn't fit into their lifestyle. Other times, they don't fully understand the consequences, so they assume skipping aftercare won't matter. They don't wear their night guard, they don't wear their retainers, they don't quit their bad habits that damage their natural teeth in the first place. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Getting your veneers is really just the beginning. Keeping it is where the real commitment comes in. Because once the treatment's done, it's no longer just in your dentist's hands. It's in yours. That means staying on top of your habits, showing up for cleanings, and making a choice every day to protect your investment. So here are some practical steps you can take toward that goal. Brush gently. Skip those firm bristles and instead go for soft bristles or an electric toothbrush. Why? It's gentle on your gums and won't wear down the edges of your veneers. Opt for nighttime protection. If you grind your teeth while you sleep, even slightly, investing in a custom night guard can be a total lifesaver. I always make one for all of my veneer patients. Of course, it's up to them to wear it. It prevents microfractures, which are tiny chips in your teeth that you really don't notice at first, but they make your veneers more vulnerable to damage. Break that bad chewing habit. Some people, when they're stressed, they tend to chew on their nails, pen caps, or even ice to release some tension. And while it feels harmless, it's a fast track to ruining your porcelain veneers. So I always tell my patients to treat their new smile like fine china, with extra grace and care. Keep up with professional cleanings. Every 6 months is the golden rule. But if you think you'll benefit from more frequent hygiene and wellness visits, go for it. As you can see, there's a number of reasons why some people regret getting veneers, but you don't have to be one of them. So if you're seriously considering porcelain veneers in San Antonio, there's a lot you need to know before saying yes, including what most people overlook. Check out this next video. It could save you from making the wrong choice.